What's going on, guys, and welcome to November's episode of Plus Club, the show where we play the games offered on PlayStation Plus throughout the month, and at the end of the month, we talk about them like a book club. My name's Seth, and joining me today is Chevy on my left, and on your right, this guy right here. Chevy, how you doing? We just watched Chainsaw Man Episode 8. It was a crazy episode.
It was.
And now we got to film this. So anybody curious, make sure to go check out Tasty Flicks if you want to see our review on Episode 8 of Chainsaw Man. But since then, how you doing?
I'm okay. Still processing what we watched.
Yeah, it was wild. I'm telling you guys, it was fucking wild. Watch it.
Yeah, I'll probably rewatch at least parts of it.
Yeah, I feel like I got to rewatch that too.
I've been doing that pretty much every week with whatever shows I've been watching, just to try to make sure I caught everything. Unless it's a slow episode, then I don't need to. But this had a lot of things happening in short windows, so I having a hard time keeping it all right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling super like we got here, we're getting ready to film. I was feeling kind of lethargic. We watched that episode. I'm feeling pumped up. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but I'll take the energy and I'll use it, because typically filming after work is a little rough for me, for my brain. But I'm feeling good. So we got to talk about some games, though. We played Nioh 2, Lego Harry Potter Collection, and Heavenly Bodies in November, and we're going to be reviewing those today, at least our impressions that we got throughout the month. But before we talk about those games, we got to talk about the games that have been leaked for December, the last month of 2022. I can't believe the year is already almost over. Fucking wild. And those games that have been leaked are Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Biomutant, and Divine Knockout. Now, I know you don't know what Divine Knockout is. I'll let you know. It is a 3D platform fighter. I know how much you love platform fighters. What do we think of the games coming out in December?
I mean, I was a little, and I do mean a little, curious about Biomutant, so I guess I'll finally get my hands on that one. I like Mass Effect, but I've played all three, so this is going to be mostly to see what they did to it, and if I put any time into any of them, it'll likely be the second one. The other game, if it is like Power Stone, which is what it kind of sounds like to me, I kind of have an idea how I feel about it already, but, maybe it'll surprise me.
Yeah, I'm always excited to try a game that's not on my radar, and I think Divine Knockout is coming out in December, so I think we're getting like a released on PlayStation Plus game. I watched a little bit of gameplay though, and it does not look that great. So this will at least be a game I can hop in, check it out, and if I like it, I'll stick with it. But if it's like whatever, it'll be low investment, which will be nice because Biomutant and all three Mass Effect games is quite a bit of game to play in 1 month. So yeah, it's a lot to take on. So I'll welcome the small investment game. Biomutant is a game that took a long time to come out, and I've always been kind of curious about it. I actually played it at E3 in 2019. For a little bit, and then it took like even more years to come out after that. So it's got a weird release timing, but so I have a little bit of experience with it. But this is a game that like I was like, I'll pick it up if it's on sale, and I just never did. So I'm happy to finally get to play it, and we'll see if it's any good. I know you get to make your own characters, so that's pretty cool. And then Mass Effect, I like Mass Effect 2, so it would be cool to revisit these games. I remember not being a big fan of how Mass Effect 1 played, and I think they did a lot of things to that in this edition. So it's probably the first of the three I will be hopping back into to see what they did with it. I am making no promise to play all three of these games all the way through, though. So if you expect that, that's not going to happen. I will be checking them out, and if they hook me in, I will play them further. But more so, I will be checking out games I've played before and seeing how they have modernized them in this edition, because I am definitely curious about that. And it is a pretty big get, because I think that came out not that long ago. Maybe a year? I don't remember. But
3 full... Well, I hesitate to say the third game, but 3 full RPGs as well. So
I heard they released stuff for the third game, though, after it came out, after all the complaining, that made it feel like the full game people wanted. But I don't know, because as soon as there's controversy about that third game, I just kind of bowed out. So, because I was like, I'm not interested in this.
Yeah, I couldn't even like bring myself to finish it. I did not like the way it played. So
It's so interesting. It's like 2 was like the perfect balance. But we'll talk about that at the end of December after we have played these games and have that discussion. Do you have anything else you want to say on these games before we talk about the games we did play?
nope.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments. What do you guys think about Mass Effect, Legendary Edition, Biomutant, and Divine Knockout? Are you excited for these games? Are you not excited for these games? Let us know in the comments below. All right. So the games we did play in November are Nioh 2, Lego Harry Potter Collection, and Heavenly Bodies. I feel like we should probably start with Nioh 2 because we have actually reviewed this game, I think, less than a year ago for Game of the Month. It was Chris's pick when we originally played it and reviewed it. And yeah, we've already talked about it quite a bit, so maybe our impressions here will be shorter than they would if it was fresh. But if you didn't get a chance to play Nioh 2, it is the continuation of Nioh. I think this one's a prequel, if I remember correctly. I think it's based before Nioh, the original Nioh. But in it is well, you make your own character, and it is a third-person action game. Definitely inspired by Dark Souls, but I always hesitate to say it with Nioh because a lot of the things that you do in Nioh and Nioh 2 are kind of part of these guys' pedigree they've been doing for a long time. So it definitely has inspiration from Dark Souls, but also has its own hyper combat flair that's a signature of what these guys do with their games. Yeah, so you go from level to level, you play through them. Just like a Dark Souls game, though, you find shortcuts, you open those up. So if you go back to the beginning, you can go through the shortcuts and get back to other parts of the map. It features challenging enemies, lock-on targeting. What is it? Yokai abilities in this one. That's a new thing where you can use. You can either transform or use yokai as abilities in combat. It has a shitload of loot. Gear, different stuff to equip to your character. Has a shitload of skills and skill trees that are based off of weapons and all sorts of stuff like that. A bunch of weapons, tonfas, katanas, pole arms, all sorts of stuff. And has co-op that I still have not done. We both played it. Mm-hmm. And let's start with you when it comes to your impressions of Nioh 2 in November.
All right. Well, last time we played this was on PC. So at least it was for me. I don't know where you played it. Did you play it on PC or console?
I played on console originally.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I played it on PC the last time we played it. Played it on PlayStation 5 this time, and decided to make a character different than the one I had on PC. So I went with a katana, dual katana and bow character this time around. I just kind of decided I was going to unga bunga it just to get an impression this month, just so you know what kind of character I made. I primarily played co-op with Chris and community member Psycho Scream. And in fact, I think the footage you're seeing is one with me and Chris.
Yeah, you provided the footage.
But yeah, I mean, it's both on console and on PC. Plays really well. The connectivity for multiplayer is also good, which is maybe something that comes off a little weird to say, but there are some games that really just have some troublesome multiplayer. This one, you make a room, people join it, and you just select a mission, you go, and at the end of that mission, they can choose to stay or drop out, and if they stay, you can do the next mission. It's really good. There's only a couple things I would change, which is occasionally when you need to watch a cutscene that is on the main map, the host does have to leave to watch that cutscene to continue progressing in the story, at least in a multiplayer setting. The skill trees they're okay. I honestly think they should be done a little bit differently. But it's nice that you have choices based off of like what playstyles you do. I just kind of think having 4 mini trees instead of 1 big tree per weapon is kind of I don't think it hits is the way I wanted it to. I don't know how to word it outside of that. Um, yeah, played the first two chapters this time around, which is pretty much about the same as I did last time. So I pretty much have played the same amount of the game both times.
Did you beat it on PC?
I've never beaten it. No. I'm trying to think of anything else that maybe is a little different for me this time around.
Well, I mean, people could be watching this weren't there for this time around, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, combat wise, it's pretty much a Soulsborne style game with a little more flair to it, just because the people who do make it, like you said, have a pedigree in games, anyways, especially third person action games, and so they definitely like threw elements in it to make it feel like their own. That being, having a high, medium, low stance, being able to sheath your weapon, and then
that's one of the things that really differentiates this game for me than like from other games that are in the genre is the combat is so Team Ninja. It's so fast and fluid, and then with the stances and how quickly you can switch between things while fighting, the combat just feels like you're just a little more in control. If you like, it almost feels like a fighting game where you can become high skilled in how you play versus like you play a game like Dark Souls, and your skill comes in that of like timing and dodging, stuff like that. Which obviously is a skill, and those games are really hard. But like in this, it's like your combos and your ability to understand your weapon and the stances and stuff, where you can really dial in how good you can be at this game, which feels so different than like a lot of games that's more about like surviving encounters. And this feels like you can really take control of encounters because of the combat system.
Yeah, I think out of games that have come out that kind of follow the similar formula, I do think Nioh 2 is the one that feels the most like its own game.
100%. Yeah.
Out of all the Soulsborne style games, I do think it stands alone in that regard, which is a good thing. I kind of feel the same way with the little bit I played Stranger to Paradise as well, because it has its own flair as well that they've done really well. I need to play that still to feel the whole game out, but
you need to play more too. I think they just added something to it.
I think there's 2 DLCs now.
Yeah,
but yeah, enemy design is pretty neat. If I had a criticism, there's a lot of repeat enemy models that you reuse the maps a lot. So if they make a third one, I hope they kind of expand a little bit. It's smart and affordable to reuse assets, but it definitely is very noticeable when one mission you're going this direction on the map and the next mission you're going this direction on the map. So
though, to be fair, in my head, I'm like, that's a smart utilization of a map if you can just reverse it, because I think they did in the first game too.
Yeah.
You can get more bang for your buck in that way. But yeah, it is if you're like playing the game a lot, it might feel repetitive, but it's better than just replaying the same mission but with a couple new variables. Playing it backwards kind of makes it feel more like a zone. Like if you're playing like Monster Hunter or something, you go to a zone, you've probably been there a million times, but maybe this time you're going to a different part of it. But yeah,
I mean, it
makes sense.
It's not like I dislike it. I just, if I was gonna knock it for something, I do think they could improve that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of different weapon types. I didn't get a chance to try any of the DLC weapons either time I played the game, so I don't know how they feel. But so far, out of all the weapons I've tried, which at this point has been the katana, the dual katanas, the sectional staff, and the spear, I do think I like the dual katanas and the sectional staff the best. They're not very compatible with each other, but though they've been the most fun for me. The katana is honestly a little disappointing for me because it's such a counterattack weapon, and that's really just not how I want to play the game. So, which bums me out because I wanted to like this time make a samurai, and I mean I forced myself to do it anyways. But the combat was a little less enjoyable for me this time around. And yeah, I don't really have any deep thoughts about the story. It's it's serviceable. It's fine.
I don't even remember it if I'm being honest, because like the last time I played it a lot was when it came out, and then this month I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to. So
And I guess the last thing is that with the yokai abilities, I kind of like the system of um, effectively catching Pokemon, and picking one for your triangle and one for your square button. There are a lot of choices, and those also have like substats that you can like really min max by merging different souls together and stuff like that. So the game gives you a lot of tools in the stats area, which is not super casual friendly, I'd say. It's definitely more for your hardcore, though I also think it's not necessary to play the game because skill is more important than stats. So,
yeah,
but you can really tool to be like very good at something in this game, which is for me great because that gives me a reason to sift through the metric shit ton of loot they throw at you at all times. So, yeah, overall, I had a good time.
yeah. So we've both played this before. I already kind of mentioned that. You've talked about it now. And so to be honest, I played this the least amount of all the games this month, which kind of sucks, but it's because I have played it already that I wanted to prioritize my time with games that I haven't played. And so, as you guys know, we just did a full spoiler review of God of War Ragnarok, and that's where I put most of my time this month into that to make sure that I could finish it so we could have that full spoiler review. And make sure to go check that out because it was a really good conversation that we had. Yeah, so I played Nioh 2, and first thing I forgot that happened is I remember when I originally played this, I played this on PS4, and then they made the PS5 version, and then when I upgraded that, my save didn't carry over. And so starting up this month on my PS5 version, I forgot that I wasn't that far into the game on that save, so I was like, ah, shit. So like I was going through a map that I've already gone through before, but I was like, where's all my progress at? Like, and I completely forgot that that was a thing. So wasn't as far in as I would have liked to be, but I had a lot of fun playing it. I forgot how much I love Nioh and Nioh 2. I always tell myself that whenever it comes up that they're great games, but playing it again just kind of reminded me on why it's so good. The graphics are clean. It looks really good. The world's vibrant. The enemy types, even though they could be more varied, are really imaginative. The combat is fantastic. It's seriously so good. When it comes to these kind of games, I think it has some of the best combat that exists in the genre. Really intuitive. Really, you can get really precise with what you want to do with the combat. The yokai system is really cool. It's when you're talking about it, kind of remind me of it's kind of like the closest thing that we got to like folklore for PS3.
It's fair.
If you don't know what that is, there's a game on PS3 that should have got a sequel called Folklore, where you ran around and you essentially captured enemy types you fought and were able to use them as abilities. And so like it kind of felt like Pokemon in a sense, but it was like an action game. It was a really cool idea. I would have loved to see more games like that. So this game has a similar system. You can equip yokai and use them as abilities, and it's cool because it kind of, in a game that's supposed to have these challenging fights, gives you an edge that you can use sometimes that kind of can even the playing field, or like if things are going bad, you can use one of these things and kind of get yourself out of it. Yeah, so I really like the yokai system. That's in the last game it was like a summon. In this, it's like actually a little more hands-on. It's part of your arsenal when you're fighting, which I like. Level layout is really good. The way that the maps are set up, they have a very similar to Dark Souls, like intertwining pathing that you go through this way and end up coming out here where you already were before, and now you have access to that area faster in case you die and you go back to your original checkpoint. You can get further into the map. It rewards your slow progression to the point where it always feels like you're making progress, and I really like that system when done right. And I think this game does it right, and I think Dark Souls obviously, and all the From Software games do it incredibly well. Let's see. I was going to touch on something and I completely forgot. Oh, weapons. Weapon varieties bigger and better than the last game. I was using tonfas in this quite a bit. I think they're a lot of fun to use. I also like the dual swords. What are the pole arms? There's a spear and...
This is staff, but it's DLC.
Yeah, so it wasn't the staff. So it was the spear. I'm a big fan of that. I used that almost primarily in the original Nioh, so I kind of challenged myself to not use it this time around. And so I used the tonfas mostly. Medium or light attacks are my favorite because you can get in there and just get a lot of hits in and move around a lot. Completely forgot about and was quickly reminded of, I forgot the name of it, but in this game, use your stamina when you're swinging, and you have to regain it during combat by pressing R1. Which will give you a little boost back. If you don't do that, you run out of stamina really quick. It also will get rid of, I can't remember terminology in the game, but when you're fighting enemies, they will put down like these areas, and you can get rid of those when you use that ability there. You know what I'm talking about?
Little mini yokai realms.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's...
more simply put, they're little puddles that buff them.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of different uses, which is cool. The game is anti-button mash. The game wants you to be involved with everything that's happening, so you have to be thinking about things and not just what buttons to press when you're hitting them, but you're dodging, you're recharging of stamina and getting rid of those yokai areas. It's a very involved game, which I like. There's no passive time where you're just kind of like zoning out. I'm sure if you get really high level and you just walk through everything, you can get to that point, but I'm not there. I agree with the skill trees. I like that they have them, and it does feel like you're becoming better at things, but they could be more exciting. And I thought that about Nioh as well, so that is something that they could maybe improve upon in a Nioh 3. And let's see, haven't played co-op in it. I would like to see what that's like, but I just haven't. And yeah, Nioh 2 is really good. I really enjoyed it, even if I had a brief time with it this month. Being reminded of just how good it is and was really nice. And I would like to beat it. I don't think I ever beat Nioh 2. I beat Nioh. I think I got like halfway through it on PS4, so gotta get back through there or buy it on PC maybe. I don't know. I can't wait for Nioh 3. But yeah, great game. Definitely love it. Let's jump into recommendations unless you have anything else to say. All right, so I will recommend it to anybody who's into Soulsborne style games. Any games where you can lose souls and have to get them back, where you have to go to checkpoints and reset the enemies every time you use a checkpoint, whether it's a bonfire or whatever they use in the game, that kind of system. Any game where you're locking onto your enemy and dodging and swinging, stuff like that. If you're into that kind of game, you have to play this. It's one of the best ones. If you like Japanese aesthetic, samurai stuff, ninja stuff, it's a must play in my opinion. I think it really does a good job with that. If you like intricate exploration in maps, not like an open world, but like, you go to a level and you go through it and there's all these like nooks and crannies and stuff to explore. It's a good game for that. And if you like co-op, I can't really speak on that, but I know it has it, so I can recommend that as well. Also, if you like loot fest games where you get a bunch of loot, you get to gear up, you could really grind out. If you got a certain item, you want a better version of it, keep working towards it. This game offers that.
Yeah. I'm mostly just going to echo the 3-player co-op experience with loot, because unlike other Soulsborne games, including Soulsborne themselves, the multiplayer has no like weird stipulation. Like if you beat the boss, you can just reload the mission and go fight the boss again. Like you don't lose access to multiplayer all of a sudden after killing it. So
yeah, it's weird.
They definitely made a game that you can play from start to finish as a co-op game that just happens to have a combat system and progression of level system that is similar to a Soulsborne experience. So
yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, let's grade it. I'm going to go with my original grade I gave when we reviewed it. Nothing has changed for me. I'm going to give it an A. It's a fantastic game. I think it's one of the best in the genre. And even now, even though it's only been like a year since I graded it originally, I really enjoy it. I think it's really good. And if you have not played it, I think you should. So yeah, easy A.
All right. I don't know what I gave it before, but as my feelings this month are going to go, I'm going to say A minus. It is a very good and welcome addition to the genre. I also applaud them for making a game that I can play with people, because I struggle to play these kind of games by myself. And I honestly hope that other people who decide to make games that are in this style of game would take some notes. So
Yeah. And for the record, you gave it an A minus last time.
Oh, okay.
So nothing changed. We just gave a shorter version of our review of last time. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. Nioh 2 is great. So definitely an A territory game. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think of Nioh 2. Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you didn't like it, what didn't you like about it? If you did like it, what did you like about it? What do you think about it compared to the original Nioh, if you've played that? And what's your favorite Soulsborne style game? And yeah, let me know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to Nioh 2. The second game we played this month was Heavenly Bodies. If you didn't get a chance to play Heavenly Bodies, it is a space puzzle game where you play as an astronaut having to do different objectives in a space station involving zero G physics, in which you float around using the sticks to move your hands and the triggers to grab things, to move yourself through obstacles with your arms. You can also move your feet a little bit too, and then
Tuck them.
you can tuck them. And yeah, you got pretty basic things you have to accomplish, but the challenge is the physics. So there's a lot of problem solving with figuring out, unlocking certain things to let things move and lock them into place, unplugging and plugging in things, moving things around. But again, the biggest challenge is that everything is just kind of perpetually floating into in perpetuity. So yeah, that was a redundant statement, but you get what I'm saying. We both played it, and I'll go first. This was a game that I was probably the most excited to visit this month because it's the one out of the three. Well, I hadn't played Harry Potter, but I've played plenty of Lego games, so that wasn't too exciting for me, because if you played a Lego game, you've played a Lego game. And I played Nioh 2. So playing a game I haven't played before, I was hoping for the best, and I liked this game. It has a co-op mode, but we didn't play it. I would have liked to try that to see what it's like, but I kind of have a feeling on what it would have been like having played it. I like this game. The zero G's is cool on paper, but in practice, it actually kind of got frustrating for me. Not in moving things. Actually, I love physics in games, so like seeing how things move in space was really cool. But moving my character drove me nuts. Getting around, a lot of times I would use my arm to grab something to move, and my whole body would start like flipping around and shit. I didn't get the motion down very well, to the point, I'll also admit this, I went to the options, I turned assisted mode on, which allows you to do this. Your feet do this, and you're able to slowly propel yourself forward.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I turned that on because I was getting really annoyed. I was like playing it, and I was having fun, but I was like, I don't want to have to keep doing this. So I was looking through that, and I saw that, and I tried it out, and it barely adds much, because you can't do advanced movements, but you can move forward. So I used that a little bit just to kind of give myself a little bit of an edge there. And yeah, the puzzle solving's fun, a little basic, but fun. I like the physics of like, even though it's annoying sometimes, like you unplug a cord and they're like just kind of floating around in space. And then sometimes something I unplugged while I'm trying to grab something else would like slowly float back and plug itself back in. Did you ever have that happen?
No.
That was really annoying. I think it's like the second mission. You're like trying to erect like this tower that has satellites on it, and it's cool because it's all folded up, and it's all locked into place and stuff. So you have to go through one section, connect all the satellites, unlock one section of this huge thing, and because you're in space, you're able to actually move it physically, and it floats into place, and then you have to lock that into place. And so you're constructing this tower that you're inside of. I think that's the footage you guys are watching. And then you have to move this like computer cart through the center of the tower, plug it into certain sections, connect the satellites, move it up to the next part of the tower, connect the satellites. And by the time I was done, I felt like accomplished. It was nice, even if I was using the assisted mode. And it was cool. I didn't play for too long though, just because I pretty much got the gist of it. I think I got to the mission 3, maybe 4, and I was at that point. I was like, yeah, I get it at this point. And I really wanted to play as co-op. We didn't get to do that, so.
Even though I think you have to do it locally.
Yeah, it's same screen. So that would have it would have been easier if you could just do it, over the network, but not the case. But yeah, the game's got a cool atmosphere. It's a pretty simple game. The biggest challenge is the physics. But the creativity is really cool. The idea is cool. And I enjoyed the physics aspect of it. I always think that's a lot of fun in games. And it's a neat little indie game. I don't really know what else to really add to it, though, because the game's pretty straightforward. It's just solve puzzles in low gravity. It was a neat little experience, but I don't think I'll be coming back to it because it's not enough to make me want to come back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I honestly think I would just be repeating you pretty much verbatim, outside of the assist mode part.
Mm-hmm.
It was the physics and stuff was neat, being able to like kind of float around and see everything, just kind of slowly move while you're like, especially you open a toolbox at one point and everything comes flying out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That was all neat. The 2-stick thing can go fuck itself though. I hated that so much. It was stupid. I didn't use the assist mode, but a lot of time what I was doing to ensure I could move was I was constantly make sure the camera was locked onto me and not the map, so that I could just flap my arms like wings to move.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I know that.
So, because otherwise I was getting incredibly frustrated, because my arm would like get stuck like this on my character, so I'd have to like down, out, up, and then be able to do something. I don't know, it was.
I ran into that too, regardless of assist mode or not. When I was trying to do movements in tighter areas, my arms just sometimes get locked into weird positions, and if I move them out of that lock, because of the physics, it would like move my body, and I'm like, holy shit! But that's the challenge. It's supposed to be like, what are you gonna do in 0Gs? But it's interesting. I never tried the flapping thing. I don't think you could do that in real life, so I never thought to do that.
Yeah, I just would put my arm straight up and then do a half circle, and it would propel me forward. So,
interesting. I never tried that. I literally just grabbed onto things and
threw yourself.
And propelled myself, and I got tired of doing that. So it's like
I started that way as well, and then eventually I was just like, I'd get my body straight and just like,
yeah. And there is a button. You said it. You had it locked.
Well, I would just hold the button.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you played completely different than me. I would just hit it every once in a while. A lot of times I wouldn't. I would just play the way I was. But sometimes you benefit a lot if you're oriented with your character. So the map is locked how it is, and you're moving your character there in the space. But if you hit one of the shoulder buttons, it'll orient your camera where your head's at the top of the screen. And so that's something you have to constantly do, or just hold the button.
Yeah. Well, because your arms move in the direction of the joysticks, regardless of the facing of your body. So if you're in the middle of doing something and you're spinning, whatever direction you're holding, and you have to like adjust to that the whole time. And
yeah, I thought a lot of stuff with the tools was interesting too. Like you had to go like open up something, grab a tool, use it and you actually physically had to like move your arm to crank things.
I liked that stuff. I also liked, I only did the first mission. I shut it off after that.
Okay.
This is not a game I would ever play again. But something that had floated, through at some point, had like lodged into the door, so it wasn't closing behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I also forgot to like clip myself to the air. When I opened up the fucking door to space.
Mm-hmm. Airlock.
Yeah. Fortunately, I was holding on the wall, but all of a sudden it was depressurized. I was like, "Duh, Chevy! Like, what are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
But because it was depressurizing the entire station, because the door was wedged open, I was just like stuck in that position until it finally, like, I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then finally it ended, and I went over and I grabbed the clip, put it on, went outside, fixed the solar panel, got back in, and finished the mission. But that kind of stuff I think is neat, because that was my bad for not making sure the door was clear. The depressurization would have went a lot faster, I think, if the door had been closed instead of it doing the whole station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think the game's a neat idea. The only thing I don't like is the control scheme. It drives me insane.
I feel like the arms could at least function a little better.
Maybe that's just all it would take.
Because I don't mind the stick so much, but your arms will get locked in weird positions, and it just didn't feel natural. That,
Yeah.
like, for instance, you move your sticks to the right, have your arms straight out, and then you roll them down, and they're down by your sides. But then if you push up, they get locked up in there because it's like fighting against. It's an indie game, so like it's
the point is your wrist, is what it feels like.
yeah.
And so you're just,
But it's getting locked into your body on a 2D plane, and like in real life, if you want to move your arms up, you would just pull your arms up forward and do that, and there should be a little bit more freedom to do that, and that your arms would just get like stuck, like you were like just like this flat robot.
like you're some
doesn't
dumbass who can't like move their arm.
doesn't feel good, but that, I think that's part of the charm of the game as well, and part of the challenge, even though it became frustrating for me. So I literally sought out a way to remedy that.
Yeah.
You didn't, but you still had the same issue as me. And so I can assume a lot of people probably felt that way. I do think this game would be a lot more fun with another person, though. So the co-op probably would have been a lot better because, in situations that are maybe frustrating or whatever, having a second pair of hands, or at least somebody to laugh with when things are going bad, would lighten up the mood a bit. But when you are playing by yourself, and things are not going very well, it's just like, oh my God. Like the big thing I was finding that was happening to me a lot was I started feeling like impatient.
Yeah.
And I love physics. There's sometimes where I'm like grabbing something, I watch my body like float, and I'd like reach for something. I'm like, this is pretty cool. But then sometimes things just wouldn't go right, and then more things wouldn't go right, and that should be, like an exciting element to the game. But because of the functionality of the arms not being the best they could, it started feeling almost like annoying. And so like I was really kind of like thinking about the time I was investing in the game and how I wasn't having fun in the moment, and then, seeking out a system mode so I could just fucking make that a little more of a faster experience for myself. So yeah, the game, it's a cool idea. It's just, I feel like it could be, if they make a second one, I hope they can smooth out at least the arms. I think the arms could be done better. That's the part that feels the most indie to me, is how stiff those feel. It almost feels like an old Flash game you would play on the internet, except for with better graphics. But the physics were done well. I was actually really impressed with the way they have them happening while you play.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I don't have any like complaints against the game itself outside of the arm thing. But the play style of the game is just 100% not my thing. The whole concept I actually think is neat, and what came to my mind was I would probably enjoy this game in VR as a 3D version of it.
Oh, that'd be way better.
So,
yeah, that'd be a completely different game, though. It could be the exact same principle of you floating around and using your arms, be perfect to grab things and move. But the 3D perspective of it, I think, would give you a whole new element that would make it a lot more interesting.
Yeah. Well, and you're the one floating around at that point.
Exactly. And you're like freely looking around.
I don't have to have arms that get stuck in my armpits. So
exactly, yeah. You can just use your actual arms and use them as they should be used to be able to grab things when you want to grab things. So, yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think concept and puzzle stuff, like, it's fine. I think the controls are frustrating. So
yeah. Anything else to say on it?
No.
All right, let's jump into recommendations. You can start first if you want.
Well, it's definitely an indie game, so that would be my first recommendation if you are into indie games. Check it out. If you like puzzle games, if you like games with anti-gravity and physics. And if you like games from a single perspective.
What else would I add to that? I feel like space. If you want to play more space games, it's a space game, even though it's kind of vague, but it is a neat perspective. And then you've nailed everything else. I'm gonna say puzzle games. If you like games with physics or messing around in zero G's, this game's gonna be for you. And I didn't play the co-op, but if you like the idea of those type of games with somebody else, you can do it. We didn't try it, so we can't talk about that. And it has an assisted mode, so if you like the movement, if that feels like it's hindering you,
You can doggy paddle.
you can. It's funny because the everybody watching will be seeing it, but he does this little like foot movement where he's like stepping and then he's able to float around. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, pretty straightforward. I can't recommend it to everybody. I think a lot of people probably wouldn't play this, but for the type of person who would play this, they're probably gonna really like it. So, yeah, let's jump into grades. I started with impressions for me first. So, how about you grade it?
Okay. I'm going to give it a C+.
Okay.
I would give it a B- if the arm thing wasn't a
Hindrance?
a hindrance.
Yeah.
Outside of that complaint, the rest of it's fine. It's a little shallow feeling. But, the idea is there. I just wish it controlled a little better. But yeah, so C+.
I was going to give it a B-, but I feel like it's a little high for me just because I think I like the concept more than I like the experience. Mm-hmm. The concept's cool. The physics are cool. The idea is cool. The atmosphere is cool. But playing it was not awesome for me. And so, yeah, I feel like it just needs some improvement. I think I'd also give it a C+, a really strong C+. I want to give it a B-, but I didn't really have fun playing it. Mm-hmm. I was just really into what they accomplished with the physics more so. But the gameplay could be improved for sure and made more interesting and maybe add some things to feel like you're progressing towards possibly. This is more of an experience than anything. Problem solving, which is a lot of fun for a lot of people, but for me it wasn't enticing enough. So yeah, I would give it a really strong C+. Definitely room for improvement, and I hope they make a Heavenly Bodies 2 and improve on, at the very least, the way the arms move. Make them feel less like they're like steel bars that can get locked into place, because that's not how arms work in real life. So, and they got everything else down pretty realistic, so maybe they can get the arms working better. But overall, really cool effort and cool idea for sure. I just wish it was a little more fun to play. So, anything else?
Nada.
Let us know in the comments what you think of Heavenly Bodies. Did you play it? Did you not play it? If you didn't play it, why didn't you play it? And if you did play it, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And what did you think of the physics? What did you think of the gameplay? What did you think of the idea? And yeah, did you play co-op? Let me know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to Heavenly Bodies. Last game we played in November was Lego Harry Potter Collection. If you didn't get a chance to play that, it's a Lego game. It's a platformer. You play as Legos. But in this one, you play through the story of Harry Potter. I think, at least, that goes through the whole story. I only played, the beginning, which would have been the first movie, essentially. And yeah, he plays Harry Potter. He plays a lot of characters, but plays Harry Potter as the main character, going to Hogwarts, doing Hogwarts stuff, learning spells. That's kind of every Lego game has like things that differentiate them from the other Lego game while still having the same principles. Like you build stuff out of Legos, whether it's in Star Wars using the Force to do that, and this using spells to do the same thing. But they all have something different. And in this, you learn new spells, and those new spells allow you to interact with different things on the map. And yeah, you play through the scenarios of the movies. I think this is based off the movies. And you switch between characters like you do in most Lego games. You break everything in sight to collect all the coins. And yeah, we both played it. And what was your impressions of Lego Harry Potter Collection?
Well, I mean, it was a Lego game, 100%. So, it starts off, just like the movie does, where you eventually get to the point where Harry gets the invitation. You go through all these cutscenes. It has the very, very Lego game humor the whole time, where like really dumb stuff happens and people are just kind of like, oh,
yeah. that's every Lego game.
Yeah.
If someone does something dumb and there's like,
Yeah. And that happens pretty much constantly throughout the game. You do finally, get to play, and you're slowly running around Hogwarts, learning spells and solving puzzles. And honestly, it's okay. Like, I don't have anything negative to say about it. It's not super exciting for me either. These games are always kind of the same in that regard. But I do think they do a good job of thematically making them make sense with every game, which is honestly kind of impressive to have what I would say is the same game over and over and over again, but just enough to make it feel like it belongs in the universe you're playing in. So they definitely have their formula down.
Yeah, essentially every game that's a Lego game is a Lego platformer but themed around a property. So
Yeah.
if you're if you're a fan of platformers and the Lego platformers and you have a brand you like, you really have choices in which one you want to play, because they've done a bunch of them at this point. It's crazy.
Yeah. I did like that you very rapidly go through the events that of the first. I don't know if it was just only the first movie. I think it was. It's been a long time since I even seen it, but
I've only seen 2 Harry Potter movies.
I've seen them all, which feels like one movie because they don't change that much. I'm probably gonna upset someone with that, but whatever.
We're not big Harry Potter fans.
Yeah. I did kind of like that people had their own things for different puzzles. Like, I believe his name's Ron, has a rat that can go through tunnels and grab stuff for you. You can set up. They can all learn the same spells, so you can set them up differently ahead of time. So if you get to a puzzle and you need, spell A, B, or C, you just switch to that character real quick. They take care of it. It still has the, like you said, smash and collect all the coins thing, but it had also puzzles where you'd have to pick up all these Lego block pieces, put them on a platform a certain way, or build stairs and stuff like that. And it's actually involved in you rotate the piece with one stick, move with the other type of deal, and those things are all really neat. I think it's definitely good for all ages because it's just engaging, but it's not super complicated. Which
These
is good.
games always feel like the perfect game if you were somebody who a gamer who had a kid and you wanted to play something with them.
Yeah, it's got just enough going on.
Because it's engaging, not really for me, but just enough for most people to just play it as like a platformer. But also there's puzzles that are super simple. They just make you stop and think for a second, but they're not super complicated. So a younger person could accomplish them without getting frustrated because they don't know what the hell's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely a family friendly games.
Right. Which I honestly think is probably his greatest strength.
Yeah.
Is that everyone knows what Legos are. The IPs they get are usually huge, well-known IPs. Everyone can play them. It's drop in, drop out. There's no punishment for death. You just get to play a video game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I appreciate that aspect of it. I just the source material isn't my thing, and I don't have necessarily a love for Lego games either. So it was an okay time.
Yeah. I'll probably have less to say on it than you. It's a Lego game. I'm not a big fan of the Lego game formula. It's not very engaging for me, but they work. And they got their formula down. And it seems to work for a lot of people, so I can't really dock them for that. It's just a personal taste for me. And while you were talking about that and we started talking about the family thing, it just further solidifies that I'm just not the demographic for this game, but doesn't necessarily make the game bad. It's neat. Especially if I was into Harry Potter, I'd probably like it a lot more. But I'm not also into Harry Potter. So I'm playing a game that I'm not really too into in a world that I'm not really too into. But it's a functional platformer. There's plenty of exploration, a lot of breaking things open, which does nothing for me. Super simple problem solving, which I kind of touched on earlier. That's definitely for somebody else, not for me. There's parts where you gotta stack Legos to make a staircase to walk up them, and I would just there'd be one already kind of set up and a couple over there. I'd just grab one, chuck it on top of the other one, and then just jump on that and just get up. I wouldn't even build anything, so I'm I can get up, that's fine. I thought the spells were kind of neat because they you use them differently, and so it kind of added some variety and figuring out how to progress further in a lot of these scenarios, and it also goes into I don't know how later the game feels, but like in the sense that you're like going to Hogwarts to learn how to be a wizard. It was cool to be learning those spells and using them in all the scenarios that even I recognize from the first movie. For anybody wondering, I've only seen the first movie and Prisoner of Azkaban. Those are the only two Harry Potter movies I've watched. I've never read the books, so that's where I'm at. But it's cool to relive some of those moments in that first movie, and feel like I was kind of progressing through. And until Hogwarts Legacy comes out, this is probably the best Harry Potter game you're going to get, because it gives you that full experience in Lego form. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're just kind of running, using spells and jumping a lot, playing through zany scenarios. It does have, like when you're playing as Ron, the ginger kid, he has like a rat he can use in certain things, really basic. It's normally just like walk up a wall and go to the right and push something off. But at least it engages you in the sense that you have to like stop and go like, well, I got to switch over to Ron to get this knocked out. So yeah, I feel like that kind of stuff, if you're playing with a kid, would be really a lot better. The game doesn't play the best in certain parts. There's a part where you go into the bathroom and there's that troll who's getting wild in there, and you're supposed to drop something on his head. And I did that the first time and nothing happened. And then I did it a second time just to be like, maybe I didn't do it correctly. I did the exact same way the second time and it worked. So its detection wasn't the best. But I still kind of appreciated that they made kind of a boss fight that was like simple for people to defeat him, but it was still like a different experience. It wasn't just like run around an open area and shoot him until he's done. Like you actually have to think and go, oh, I gotta pull the thing down and knock him out. So I can appreciate the creativity and the formula these guys have developed, that just seems to work it really just works for everything, especially with the amount of Lego parts in this game. They got a Lego part for everything. It's all from like real sets too, so it's cool that they can even make a Harry Potter game, a Star Wars game. I think there's a Jurassic Park one. It's always neat to see what they can do with the actual Legos in these games. But when it comes to the gameplay, I've already said enough times, so I'm not going to repeat it too much. It's just not for me. So it's hard to feel anything worthwhile for me to really break down and talk about. So simplistic game, and it works for people, and that's cool. But this one just felt wasted on me, I guess. So that's not a negative to the game. The game's fine. It's just not for me. So yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's jump into recommendations. I think the easy ones are, if you're into platformers, it's a platformer. If you want to play a family-friendly platformer or family-friendly game in general, it's a good game for that. If you have kids and you want them to have a game to play that's not going to frustrate them and they'll be able to play through and have fun, especially if they're Harry Potter fans, this is probably excellent for that. If you like cooperative experiences, I would recommend it. If you're a Harry Potter fan, I feel like you have to play this game because there's not a whole lot of those games, and this is giving you the movie experience only in Lego form. So at least you got that until Hogwarts Legacy comes out, which, as not a Harry Potter fan, I want to play that. It looks really cool. Yeah, what do you got?
I mean,
I feel like magic. In games.
I feel like everyone could play this game.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone would love it, but I think everyone could play it. But yeah, I don't know. I struggle to really kind of hard recommend it to really anybody. I just think it's a game that you can pick up and play. I'm sure there are people who love it. And they've already played it though. So.
Well, there are fans of the Lego games.
Yeah.
So I would hard recommend it to them, but they probably already played it. So
I mean, give it a shot. You might like it. I mean, that's just kind of where my recommendation is on that. Like they are easy to pick up and learn, and not very punishing. So I mean, even if you're not even much of a gamer, I don't know why you're watching this channel, but just in case.
Welcome, and hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
Everyone's welcome here.
I think it's a good game to teach you how to play video games, to be honest.
Yeah. I just thought of it, but I don't know if it's a good recommendation. But I mean, if you're somebody who likes to listen to podcasts and play something you kind of turn off while playing it, this would be a good game for that, I think. Although I would recommend a more grindy game that I would typically play if I was doing something like that. But
I'd
where you
probably
work
just
towards
turn
something.
Final Fantasy 14 on
Yeah.
at that point. But yeah.
Start playing MMOs or play a game where you're you play Deep Rock Galactic or Dark Tide or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe you want to chill and just kind of play a mindless game. Check this out. So you did your impressions first.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. You done with the recommendations?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll grade it. I'm trying to balance between that the game is fine and functioning and my personal like of it. And
True.
Yeah, our grading system is not like, is this the best game, worst game ever? It's just like trying to grade it between quality and what I personally think of it, gameplay wise.
Gut reaction, basically.
Yeah. So I feel like I would give it. I'll give it a B minus. It's a functioning game. It works just fine. It's a Harry Potter game, so if you like Harry Potter games, you'll probably like it. And or Harry Potter in general, you'll probably like it. And if you like the Lego platformer games, you'll probably like it. And it works just fine. It's just really simple, and it's not engaging for me. So, but there's nothing wrong with it. There's no problems with it. It's just not enough for me to want to invest in. And the quality's fine, but it's not amazing. I mean, it's plays smooth. There's no glitches. I didn't see anything bad like that. But like the graphics aren't great. Story's not really interesting for me personally, but if you're into Harry Potter, I'm sure it's great. And yeah, strong B minus. I almost want to give it a B, but that I just have like no interest in playing it. I have to balance it, so B minus.
Man, I'm gonna give it, even though like I have no interest in playing this game, I'm gonna give it a B plus. I think the game itself is perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I had zero problems, and I think everyone could play it. But I do not think it excels at anything.
Yeah.
So I can't even fathom giving it an A.
I don't even
But
think.
I do think B plus is pretty fair.
Sure, I think it's more fair than me. I just, if I was grading it based off of how much I want to play it, I would give it a D.
Oh,
so,
easy.
yeah, but then I'm looking at like the quality. I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah,
and then
it's
with
fine.
games coming out nowadays that aren't even fully fucking finished, it's functioning. But also my bigger criticism towards it, I didn't really mention that I should, and I'll say it now. For a Lego game, it's probably one of my least favorites that I played.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with that part.
I thought the DC
really-
villain one was better. I think it felt more modern, had more engaging stuff going on, had a little open world you could run around in and drive vehicles and stuff. It just felt like a bigger experience.
Yeah.
This felt like a more traditional. I don't know which one came out more recently, but this one just feels like a more classic Lego experience, and it just on the scale of Lego games it was fine, just not for me.
Yeah. I honestly think it would have been a little lower, but you get all of the Harry Potter games in this version.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't experience them, but yeah, it's a plus.
yeah.
That's all these games that have like the whole sagas and stuff like Star Wars. I'm just like that's crazy.
It's a lot of game.
Like if you're a fan of these Lego games and you're a fan of the property that they're doing, these games are probably awesome for you. So like, I'm trying to be objective in that sense of understanding like these games are popular for a reason. They make them for a reason, and they do a good job. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, anything else?
Nope.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think of Lego Harry Potter collection. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? If you did like something about it. If you are somebody if you're a Lego game connoisseur, what's your favorite Lego game? What's the best one? Tell me. I might look into it. Probably come out on PlayStation Plus. I can try it out. But I'm curious because having played enough Lego games now, I can kind of tell some are better than others, obviously. Some are older, some are newer. And yeah, are you a Harry Potter fan going into this? Did that affect the way you viewed this game when you played it? And do you like the Lego games? Let me know what you think about in the comments below when it comes to that and the other games we played. But that's going to do it for this episode of Plus Club. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check out our streams and socials linked down below. Check out our Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. I have TikTok if you want to check that out. I do small form content there. until I can upload it here. That's where it's at, so check that out. That's linked down below. And we have a Patreon if you like to support the channel even more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing if you are brand new here. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Thank you for joining me, Chevy. Thank you for joining me, everybody who watched this episode. Until next episode, which will probably be TastyCast, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.